Hello, 26K here, or LSD, depending on where you know me from. I'm going to be taking you through the F3 template using the gear scripts, because I know a lot of people either don't know about this, don't know how to configure it, are too scared to use it, or simply don't think they like it. I've been using this for a while now, so I think it's an easy thing to use, and people just don't give it the time. So I'm going to take the time here to talk you through it and hopefully give you more confidence in actually using it. So, diving straight into it, we're going to need to configure a unit to dress up. And this is our chap, ready to export. I'm just going to go to export there now. Data's been copied to the clipboard, so we're going to Alt-Tab back. This is basically what's been exported from Arma. Well, you can read it in your own time. We're only interested in the uniform, the vest, the backpack, the headgear, and possibly the weapons if it is not something you're too familiar with, or perhaps we're doing this on the add-on server where the availability of weapons is a lot greater to you, so you're going to need to know the class name of that. We are firstly going to be taking a copy of this because I don't want to edit it directly. I always like to have a backup. So in case things go horribly wrong, we're going to be able to go back. But I'm just going to copy paste that, rename it, edit it. So this is the F3 gear script. This is where all your magic happens. Each of these 3 files are going to be loaded in at the game start, and the game will go through each one of those, and if the player is in that specific side, they will get that gear. The catch is they need to have the function in their unit name. So after waiting the age for my computer to load the map, we are now in. This is the F3 template. You should be mostly familiar with this. We've got our units laid out here. If we drill into any of these units, we will see their group is specified, which is mandatory to get the unit markers. But more importantly, this is the script that will get called that we're going to shortly be drilling into. The syntax for this is pretty simple. You leave that blank and you just put this in the function call. Because it's blank, the script knows to look at the Arma object type, which will be from this list here, and depending on this type it will automatically pick the relevant gear. So if we wanted this chap to be a Rifleman AT, it's as simple as just changing his type. To edit the F3 gear script, we will need to refer to the document we pasted into earlier with our Arsenal export. This is mine. I've also done it 2 other times with a different backpack, because there are 3 different backpacks, light, medium and heavy, that will need to be configured. We will be referring to these later. The Arsenal export will sit in the background while we copy and paste to the F3 gear script as shown here. This is a long script. Don't be afraid of it. After line 260 you shouldn't need to edit anymore. And the editing done within the script is very light, provided you use a suitable template. By that I mean, if you wish to use a base class of Eastern soldiers, use the Eastern template. Don't try and edit a NATO template to convert it to CSAT. It'll take you a long time and you'll have a lot to change. Always stick with a class that closely matches your current faction. So I am editing the East template to make it an East guerrilla faction. The template, in summary, starts off with the attachments for generic soldiers, which is just this section here, and then specific unit types as shown here. For now, we move on to the handguns. We'll skip over that because we don't want to configure their weapons, or the weapons of base infantry. Could of course refer to our Arsenal export script and find the weapon that was exported with our soldier and paste it in. For example, we are now replacing the diver weapon also with a Katiba, and the caseless green ammunition goes in place. It's as simple as replacing the weapon as defined on the list. For now, I'm going to undo that because I don't want to make any changes, so I will leave that as it is. You can also configure their binoculars, so for example giving everyone binoculars by default rather than the more powerful rangefinder. We're not making any changes to the weaponry. We do want to, however, change the backpacks. As I mentioned earlier, I've exported the Arsenal 2 times previous in addition to our first time, just to get the individual backpacks out. The carry-all will be the large backpack, field pack will be the medium, and your assault pack will be the small one. You're completely free to put in whichever backpack you want. Obviously keep in mind that the gear, if it doesn't fit in the backpack, won't be included. So generally we like to keep these sizes to large, medium and small. We're not going to be changing the MMG or AT loadouts. You could, however, give Rifleman AT Titan launchers, like so. A little bit OP, so we're going to leave them out. The clothing section in the script is probably where you'll be spending most of your time. You will configure each unit's uniform, helmet, glasses and armour. Specialist units have a specialist set of gear which is defined. You can see towards the bottom you have divers, pilots, your vehicle crewmen and your sniper team. It's just a case of copying and pasting from your Arsenal export as before with your weapons and your backpacks, replacing the relevant values. So we are going to replace the base uniform. We are going to leave the diver uniform. I'm going to leave the pilot and crew as they are, but I'm going to take the camo away from the sniper and give him the same as everyone else. Moving on, choosing the helmet, find the headgear, copy, paste into the relevant sections. As before, we are going to replace the sniper with the same gear as everyone else, so he gets a bandana. Next up is the glasses or goggles. We don't seem to have any on here. That's not a problem. We don't have anything to paste in here. This is an array, which basically means a random value will be picked. Since we want him to have a khaki bandana, we're going to get rid of the actual shades. We'll leave the black bandana, get rid of blue shades, and the blank value at the end means no value at all. So when the gear script runs for the unit, it will give them a random selection of these glasses or bandanas, or give them nothing. If we wanted every unit to have one of these items, we could remove the double quote, but for a bit of randomization we'll leave it in. Finally, we'll just apply that also to the sniper team and give them a choice of a khaki bandana or nothing at all. Lastly, we'll update the vests. We chose a khaki tactical vest to export with, which happens to also be what the base CSAT unit uses, so we will not need to change that. We could give a choice between a tactical vest or a harness for all units by doing the following. Just take note that when editing the script, you need to ensure of closing brackets, closing quotes, and of course your semicolon at the end. It is generally to get into a good habit of each time you make any edits to a line, just check it over for syntax and make sure it is correct. There's nothing worse than finishing a gear file, then having to trawl through the lot, finding mistakes. Check each line as you go along and you won't have a problem. So, we're now done. We have finished this script by configuring the weapons, clothing and any other additional items that the units may have. We've now saved this. We are ready to import this back into the main F3 template. If you cast your mind back right at the start, we renamed this before we worked on it. Now it's time to rename it back. We're confident this is working fine, so I am going to put this to .old, and this will become the main gear script. Arma is very, very picky about formats of files. It is specifically looking for these 3 files. If it doesn't find one of those files, you will know about it. The only way of convincing Arma that things are okay in the world is to put those files back. So don't ever delete these, only ever change the contents of them. And here we are. Ignoring the issues detected, we can see everyone's now got a lovely bandana. Their backpacks, by default, it sticks to heavy. There should be some people with light backpacks if we get towards the edge here. Oh, there we go, yes. Our IFV drivers have a nice lovely light backpack there. And they have their custom IFV driver or crewman kit, as you see. When it comes to editing these gear scripts, there's generally someone who's done it before, and that person is normally me. I do try and put all my gears for specific units into the scripts gears folder. So if you're looking for a specific type of gear for one faction, it may already be on this list. So all you would need to do, for example, if I wanted NATO to wear the CRG uniform, I would copy this, go into my mission folder, into my loadouts folder, paste this in, and we're going to rename it as West. So as before, change that to west.old, and then change the loadout script to now become A3 West. And so we are loaded in as NATO, and everyone has got their lovely CTRG uniform.